Hello.
I know you.
There we are.
I know you.
There's all this.
What would Tyler prefer that I have a virtual background?
Probably not. Ask what?
Nothing. Are you nervous?
I get nervous over stuff.
Yeah.
I do.
This is our,
Even like meetings at office meetings and stuff.
besides the Pretzinger interview, this is quite possibly the biggest interview.
Yeah, truth. So I fired someone a couple months ago, right? Remember?
Mm-hmm.
This thing told me right before I did it, that my heart rate went up to like 135.
Resting heart rate?
Dude, well, it wasn't resting. It wasn't resting.
You had all this anxiety going.
I don't like it. Yeah, it's
a bummer. It's a bummer.
But this is the thing, and this is the reality. Then they're like, okay, or like whatever their reaction is. I mean, he even gave me a hug.
The reaction usually is nothing like what you expect.
Nothing. It's like, this is what I was wrestling with.
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah. Well, you put yourself in their shoes and you're like, God, I'd be so pissed and sad and whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you have to let them go, then they did it to themselves.
And to be honest, I don't know of a job where I was hired where it's kind of nice to get fired.
You get the day off.
I mean, it's like you get the day off, you get the week off. It's an excuse to kind of get a little bit of time.
In the partying days, then it was like, hey, it's time to party, right? I got a week off.
Welcome to the Insurance Dudes, a podcast for insurance agency owners, helping us to think of different ways to optimize our business and our lives.
This week on the Insurance Dudes podcast, we conclude the Tyler Jack Harris 3-part series with the talk about social media strategy and the future of the insurance industry. Stay tuned. It's gonna be a good one.
You're very methodical. So what is your social media strategy look like on a day?
Social media strategy, we certainly have things that happen on a daily, weekly basis. But I mean, I post everything. I've got a team now. I've got, a videographer that travels with me, video editor that creates like one of my Instagram stories. If you go to my Instagram stories, like one of them's like super professional. The others are just like me on the fly. She creates that. She creates the Road to Legacy vlog, which I absolutely love. It's the coolest thing about this whole documenting process is she's able to create this vlog with footage from the last 2 years. Like there'll be a video from me yesterday, and then next clip is me 2 years ago. Next clip is me from a month ago, all talking about the exact same topic, which is incredible for me to be able to watch, hopefully for other people to watch as well. And then some other video content, a lot of the previews and stuff for the podcast. And then I've got a graphic designer that really his main function is project manager. So he's overseeing all this stuff. But I write all the copy. I post when I want to post it, I schedule it when I want to schedule it. I really don't schedule that much stuff. I really do it a lot on the fly. I've got access to it in a folder because, I just never know. Like I don't, and it's not like, I don't really think it's a trust issue because I trust my team completely, but I do a lot of things off of feel. And like a second ago, like the reason I was late was because I just got done recording a podcast with this guy and just something happened and it really hit me. I felt like I needed to put a message out. And so not super professional. I just recorded myself on my phone real quick, talking about this conversation and posted it right before I jumped on this podcast. So things like that like just hit me and I'm like, oh man, I need to write that. I need to record that and put it out. Some of the stuff is super scheduled, regimented, like Sales Wolves podcast comes out on Sales Wolves Wednesday, as cheesy as that is. Comes out every Wednesday. Road to Legacy comes out 5 days a week, usually at like 8 p.m. But everything else, man, it's really on the fly. It's really just kind of whatever I'm feeling that day, that week, that month. But the big thing for me is the consistency of knowing that there's going to be at least 3 posts a day, no matter what. Over 5,000 pieces of content in 26 months that we've put out. And it's just, there's no trick to it, hack to it, secret to it. It's just, it takes forever. Like sometimes someone will be like, what are you doing right now? I'm like, I'm trying to put this freaking post out. It's like, and like, I'm trying to edit this one little thing on it, cause I'll still create a lot of this stuff myself, just using apps.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. Like for, like right before we got on here, like I made that video, but then I put in this little Videorama app and, made some adjustments, and I wrote out the copy, and then I posted it to Instagram. Then I natively posted it to Facebook. Then I posted it to LinkedIn. And I went back and added the hashtags into the comments. Then I tagged the people. Then I added it to my stories from my feed. Like that's, 11 minutes that took me to do that, just to post it, to create it for 20 minutes before then. But it's just, I love it. Like I enjoy it. I enjoy that process. It's really enabled me to kind of scratch this creative itch that I've always had. And so I enjoy that part. And that for me is like my fulfillment in life. Like I love what I do because that has become a majority of what I do on a daily basis. And the thing that I love doing, I get to do. And my business partners support it. Even when they don't understand it, which means the world to me, and will be ROI positive for them in the future, I assure you. But like there were times in the beginning, my business partners were always very, very, very good, especially Joseph, the CEO of our company. He was very, very smart in knowing most people like me that come into sales but have this entrepreneurial spirit. They're going to get bored. They're going to have things that they're going to want to pursue. He's always done a very, very good job of allowing me to do things to an extent that it never felt like I was being told, no, you can't. It was always like supported, even when it didn't make sense. Like this social media stuff for the first year made no sense to anyone. Like, why is he spending all this time? Money? I mean, we spend a lot of money on ads, a team of people. And I'm so grateful that they've allowed me to do that. But also on the flip side, I know that the return long-term and what it's going to do for our business and what it's going to do for our lives is going to be incredible. But they've been very, very good, with me on that. What it's resulted in short-term is it's how we recruit all of our agents, people that follow my content. And then we run a couple ads every now and then on, the opportunity to come work with us. And that's literally the only place we've hired people for the last year and a half. We get we get like 10 to 30 applications a day for people that want to come work with us. And now we've got an incredible process to refine that down to making sure we bring on the right people. And so, but that was a completely unintended, outcome. Like never thought that would be something that would happen. It was very fortunate for me that it did, because it, certainly helps me justify all the time I'm spending on it that goes directly towards future revenue and into the business.
Was that the turning point for your partners? It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the only way that I'm still doing what I'm doing at the level.
Filling that candidate pipeline that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's even more powerful because a lot of these people, if they've been watching my content, especially last year and the year before, they see the hard work that goes in and they see the rewards. So they come in like, our agents that start now versus our agents that started 4 years ago, like they're expecting to make $300,000 their first year. And they've watched how grueling it is to get there, which is, very, very unique for them to get an inside look at something into, an opportunity that pops up that they didn't even, realize was available to them. They're like, oh crap. Like this last recruiting ad that we just ran, I just created, was probably the first time I've really said like, hey guys, like this is literally the career. Like my whole story from 0 to 300 to 450, like this is the exact job. It's available in these territories. And if you're interested, great. And it's been pretty powerful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But the social media stuff, like it's evolving. It's a lot of fun. It's challenging. It's frustrating at times, but it's it's where everything's headed. And I just believe that over the next 3 or 4 years that we have this land grab and that people will never, ever, ever, ever be able to catch up after that. That you can create this momentum to where the people that finally get it, because nobody got it. Like, it wasn't just my business partners. My wife didn't get it. My parents didn't get it. All of my friends didn't get it. They made fun of me for the longest time, and probably still do. But but there's been some incredible moments here, recently, where people have finally, understood, now that they're seeing some of this stuff, come to fruition, and some of the impact that's being seen now. They're like, man, I had no idea what you were doing this whole time, but man, it's pretty cool. And that's been pretty special for me. But I just know, for me to make the biggest impact in my life, I have to document and share, my gifts, and I take it really seriously.
Yeah, that's what I was really stoked to see you doing this, because coming from an insurance side, there's nobody that's really doing it on the insurance side. And what's cool is, I would almost say that most people in insurance are kind of crushing it. They get lazy. To do something like this is putting in a ton of effort on something that's non-monetary right now. And it's needed, especially for newer people that are getting involved in insurance. And it's such an old industry. When I took over this office, there was file cabinets and files everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a sexy business, especially.
Oh yeah. And those people are all about to retire and die and quit. There's a giant gap coming in insurance agents in the US. Like, who's going to fill all these offices? Who's going to fill all these, seats? And yeah, I think it's certainly unique. The thing I love about it is because, I don't really market or target insurance specific stuff at all. But I love that it gives me this ability to have a platform to speak on about personal branding in general, because the number one excuse people always get is, well, what if what I do isn't that interesting? I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad you said that, because I sell freaking life insurance. There's nothing less interesting. Like, there's nothing less interesting than what I actually do for a living. But I don't talk about what I actually do for a living. I talk about the universal skills and lessons and pillars that, ultimately create success. And the reality is, you can do interesting stuff outside of the 1/3 of your life you spend working. Like, if you want to be more interesting, then probably you should do more interesting stuff. And it's really, in a weird way, kind of forced me to do more interesting stuff. Like, there's been times where I've been doing stuff, like, especially when I had the daily vlog last year, like out in the desert of in Vegas, like, riding these ATVs. And I just looked around for a second. I'm like, I would not be doing this. 100% would not be doing this if not for, we just wanted to create some cool content. Cause I was going out to this festival, this conference I was speaking at in Utah. The idea of well, how about we fly in that morning and then fly into Vegas, go ride ATVs, and then drive from Vegas to Utah, then go to the conference. That would have not made any sense. It would have never popped into my brain until content creation came about. But the next thing you know, I'm freaking as happy as can be, screaming, flying around this ATV. I'm like, this is work, today. And so it's forced me to do more interesting things, to be more interesting. So that's been certainly a good, consequence of all this stuff. But yeah, you're right. There's really nobody in the insurance space, I don't really think, doing it. I love what Ed Milet's doing. I love his message, but there's something very different about someone that's worth $480 million coming on the scene. Of course he's going to blow up.
Yeah,
he's top 50 under 50 net worth in the country. If he didn't come on board and dump a ton of ad spend and blow up, then it's impossible. It's a statistical impossibility that he wouldn't. Now his intent is incredible. He's got such good content, and all that he's doing. He doesn't really ever talk about insurance, maybe because he's with WFG and that's kind of a soft subject for him, I guess, the fact that it's MLM. and the taste that a lot of people have in their mouth about that. But he didn't ever talk about insurance. He's an insurance guy through and through. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably that. It's that people don't think that when the world would like, who am I? What am I going to talk about? What am I going to get on here and talk about? This policy I just sold, my neighbor, there's nothing people want to hear about that.
Yeah. Well, I know we've taken up so much of your time. I want to thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome. No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, this is, it's always fun, man. And it's always, I'm big on gratitude, and anytime I can tell my story, it reminds me of, that story. Cause that's what I love about it, is cause, it was just 4.5 years ago. That is a small window of time for my life to have changed like this. And I love telling my story because it keeps me grounded in remembering what it was like. And it keeps me empathetic and compassionate for others that are there right now. And it's just like this constant reminder of just being grateful for what you have, for what you've gone through, and wanting to help others be able to realize, like, whether they're in it or headed towards it or coming out of it, that, if you go out and you just put a crazy amount of work into anything, you can succeed, you can live an extraordinary life. And I think that gets lost in a lot of social media, the actual aspect of the effort that goes into it. And I think that, the only way to change that is by people going out there and spreading the truth. So.
Yeah, I love that too. That it's been in such a short period of time. And Craig and I have similar stories as to yours, where we kind of hit rock bottoms, alcohol and stuff like that. And it's, I love the comeback story. It's just,
yeah. I mean, I certainly love it. I don't want to experience it again, but I'm not ignorant to the fact that I probably will, like, at some point. Like, it is what it is. But it was frustrating the other day when the whole thing about Kylie Jenner came out, being a billionaire and all that. It's so funny, like, seeing how people react to other people's success. Like, that's one of my big things, is you always need somebody in your life that you can brag to, and that just cheers you on. Like, I've got a few people in my life that, I could call and be like, dude, you're not going to believe how many policies I sold today. This is how much the commission was. And that are genuinely, like, excited on the other end. Like, holy crap, that's incredible. Like, you need people like that in your life.
Yeah.
And I just get so, tired of people that somehow, it's just this lack mentality of thinking that because somebody else was successful and did something that somehow that, eliminates an opportunity for you. But all these people talking about Kylie Jenner, and I saw this one guy, he posted something in the comments, was like, yeah, well, I'll be impressed when she loses it all and then rises back up. I'm like, okay. So you tell me that this girl just became the youngest billionaire, but the only way that Jeff in wherever Arkansas you live in is going to be impressed by that is she's going to have to lose everything and come back for you to then give her a little bit of respect for what she's done. I'm like, that's just it's crazy. But I mean, it is the stories that you love to hear. I mean, I certainly would have, rather not have experienced it, but man, I'm so grateful for it.
Well, sometimes we need to. I mean, that's what pushes us.
Every single thing is necessary. Like my divorce, my wife having an affair, my business failing, my struggle with alcohol, like every single little thing was 100% necessary, because I'm the husband that I am now because of it. I'm the father that I am. I'm the business person that I am. So, even when things happen, like the other day, I had a terrible situation happen the other day for me. And as frustrated and as mad as I was, I literally in that moment, because of what I've gone through, was able to sit back and say, this makes no sense to me right now, but there is 100% a reason for this happening today. And I'm going to realize it in hindsight. And I just have to understand that, like, accept that as truth. Like, this was not supposed to happen today. Man, I don't know why. And it's super frustrating, but there is a reason why, and it'll make sense one day, and just move on. So that's a a quality that only comes from going through experiences and having that hindsight. And hopefully by documenting that type of stuff, you can give somebody else that intuition or give somebody else that quality to be able to hang on even when they haven't gone through it. And that's what I really want to do. Like, I want to find people that are about to go through something and get a hold of them so that they have a little bit of perspective when they're in it. And the people that are in the middle of a storm, to be able to reach them and say, like, look, I know this doesn't make any sense to you right now, but I promise you that there will be a point in your life where you look back on this and you're so grateful you went through it, and that there's a blessing on the other side of it, but you have to become the person that can receive it. And this is your process of becoming that person. And I know you're going to say, screw you, and that sucks, but like, it's just truth. Like, I know it. And it may not be a month from now, maybe 10 years from now, but just trying to reach people that are going through stuff, because, it's life is difficult, and any little hope that you can give somebody, and to me it's a responsibility.
Totally. Yeah. Everyone's going to get knocked down a whole bunch. So we need those people to help us.
Oh yeah.
Everybody needs help.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. And we need more people like us out there. That's for sure. Especially in this industry, shake things up and make things a little bit more fun.
Well, hey, Tyler, we really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
You are a really good dude, and you are always welcome on this.
Thank you. Well, I'd be happy to come back on anytime. This is what I love. I love talking about this stuff. And I just think of the one person that may listen to this that lives in Alaska, that could hear something that could make a little bit of a switch in their head, that all of a sudden 10 years later changes someone's life. And it's like, who am I not to, take hold of every opportunity like that. So
what a day and age that we live in. Like,
I know
the best time. I always tell people this is the best time to be alive right now.
Yeah. We're sitting here talking about insurance and all this stuff. Like, I just did a podcast with a dude that has the largest dance channel on YouTube, but he's the coolest guy. He has over 2 billion with a B views on YouTube, 10 million subscribers on YouTube, 3.4 million followers on Instagram, 2.3 million followers on Facebook, and he dances. But his story is so
awesome.
His story is so cool. It was so inspiring. And just like it's very surreal when I have these conversations. Like, I've just discovered that's the way I learn. I don't read. I hate reading. Oddly enough, I love having books. I love buying books, but I hate reading, which makes no sense. But it's because I end up listening to them all. But like every year, my New Year's resolution, all these goals, I'm going to read a book a week, a book a month. And my brain, I just don't comprehend. I just don't read well. My ADD, I just can't focus. But what I've realized, audio is helpful. Video, I'm very, very visual, but I learn more through conversation and through experience. And so that's why I created my podcast, was to be able to have that conversation with that dancer from LA, an hour ago, and to be able to learn from his story and learn from the things that he's gathered along the way. And that stuff, for some reason, just like sticks in me, and I can bring it back. I can bring it back up on demand. Like I would never be able to do in a book. And so, once you realize those things about yourself, you act upon them, and crazy things start happening, especially with social media. It's crazy. So
on the last note, what has been the craziest thing that's happened to you that you're like, wow, I did not expect that?
I don't know. Last week was insane for me. I went out to LA. I did 11 podcast interviews, and 11 of the most random conversations that were all so incredibly impactful. Like, a guy that's been in Hollywood for 30 years, whose best friend is Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington. Jamie's like the godfather of his daughter, and he's got an incredible, history and just life that he's lived. A painter that is just this unbelievable artist that has the coolest story ever. entrepreneurs, a guy that was in the NBA for 11 years and now owns and runs an esports team that's just killing it in the esports arena, which I knew nothing about, that just blew my mind. And, probably the most impactful conversation I've ever had in my entire life. There's a pastor by the name of Erwin McManus. He's the pastor of a church called Mosaic Church. And this guy, he's 60 years old. He's got more swag than any human being on this planet. He was probably wearing $6,000 worth of clothes. But it was like a camo jacket and like these very hard to find shoes. And like, he was a fashion entrepreneur. He's been a filmmaker, storyteller. He's got like 9 books. He's traveled, 40 different countries, and is just like every word that comes out of his mouth is just like the most wise, just incredible, eloquent thing you've ever heard. I've watched every one of his sermons, read his books, and to be able to like sit down with him for half an hour because of a random DM that he responded like 5 minutes later. Doesn't follow me, so I know it went to the other side, and how he responded, I have no idea. But the fact that I was able to sit there and talk to him for 30 minutes as though we had been friends forever, that was definitely a really surreal moment for me, because he is someone that I look at as like untouchable.
That's awesome.
And to be able to like just genuinely connect with and just joke around with, and it was powerful. So, I mean, there's so many circumstances like that, but the fact that like my best friends now are people that I've randomly met through Instagram that we, DM'd, then a conversation, then, met up at a conference. And then now we talk like weekly, or daily. So social media, everyone wants to tell you that it's making us disconnected. We've never been more connected than, we've never been more connected. It's a tool like anything else. You can use it the right way or the wrong way. So,
yep.
That's it.
Yep. That's what
Awesome.
I tell everybody. It's a tool. You can use it for positive or negative, just like anything else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Y'all have a good rest.
Thank you.
Hey, do y'all know Jay Atkins, by the way?
Yes.
Yes.
Gotcha. He's a good dude. Really,
Yeah.
really good dude.
Yeah.
I met him in Miami and spent some time with him over at his office one time. I just remembered he was in that Allstate space.
Yep.
He's a good dude, sharp guy. His wife is crazy on social media. Crazy. When I was with him the other day, his wife got paid like $70,000 to do like a 30-second video holding a Sprite can.
No way.
Like legitimately got paid like $70,000 to hold a Sprite can for 30 seconds on Instagram. Like
We just wait. The insurance dudes will be
Yeah.
those strike hands.
holding a pack of pens or something.
Yeah.
All righty. Y'all have a good night, man.
Thank
All
you.
right, too, Tyler. Thank you.
Your Insurance Dudes podcast is sponsored by Agency Vault, an industry leader in agency coaching, hiring and retaining top talent, and sales training with the 7-step trusted advisor sales framework. Are you up for the challenge? For $99, you'll get 28 days of access and an opportunity to join our private platinum coaching group. For more information, navigate to www.agencyvault.com.
Hey, thanks for checking out the Insurance Dudes. Hey, please subscribe. We got some really great stuff coming out.